in the dead of night. I hear them whisper, shadows dance on walls, growing crisper. Echoes of the past, they start to rise, monsters lurking deep beneath the skies. Fear grips my heart. I can't escape, bump in the night, where the fears collide. Monsters awaken, nowhere to hide. Shadows are calling, they beckon me near. In the dance of the dark, I feel no fear. Moonlight reveals the horrors unseen, whispers of darkness haunting my dream. Figures that twist in the corners of sight. I shiver alone in the grip of the night. Creatures of shadow come out to play.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Into the Red Rabbit Hole with Nighthawk and Eric. We got Eric patiently waiting backstage while I get through the disclaimer real quick, and I have to go through a few things. If we at all lose power, I know I asked Eric to put it in the chat already, but if we lose power, we will be coming back on, and I will explain when we get into the podcast why I say that. The copyright disclaimer is this channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the fair use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976, which under the Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, it makes allowances are made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and entertainment value. Okay, so that being said, we also use the UCut app for our intro and outro needs, and all of our advertisement and stuff on the channel. And I also use my own music that I created with the Donna app, which is a great AI app that I have, and it's phenomenal. And Eric has it too, and we've both been playing with it for about a month now, and we've been putting out some pretty good music. If you haven't listened to the music that I put out on the channel, go back a couple, weeks or a few days ago, and there's two lives that I did, live streams with two different types of music on during each week, and it's pretty good. So, all right, now tonight is going to be it's going to be a difficult podcast, folks. Let me tell you that right now. Okay, and the reason being is this right here. We are going to talk tonight, like Eric and I were talking backstage, about what I believe is going on, and with the Nephilim. What me and a buddy of mine, another researcher and podcaster that I know very well, and I've known for a while, we've come together with this idea that we call it the Nephilim mind virus. And what I want you to picture is, how do I want to say this? This is only half of what our show is going to be about tonight. And talking with Eric backstage, our entire house just lost power, including our entire block, while we were discussing this. So that means I hit a nerve. So buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm taking you guys on one hell of a ride tonight. Okay, so buckle up, have your holy water with you, have your incense with you, have your sage, your sweetgrass, whatever you use, your gin and tonic. I don't care. Mine's coffee. So buckle up, because we are going to get into it. Okay, the Nephilim mind virus. Now, this is just a theory of mine. Okay, but with talking with other researchers and stuff, I've come to the conclusion that inside each of us, I've always told everybody we have this divine spark. Okay. We literally have a divine spark in each and every one of us. Okay. Now, how we utilize it and if we utilize it is up to us. We have to find out how to do it and how we're gifted it and how we can make that part of us grow, okay, and evolve. As with anything supernatural, whenever you deal with something like that, even in prayer, you can have outside energies coming in and attacking you. For instance, tonight when Eric and I were talking backstage, okay? So, and losing power, they will do everything in their power to either confuse you, make you feel like you're not smart enough to understand, make you angry because some of the things may be offensive to some belief that you have, but then you find out with rational thinking and your own investigating and research that possibly there is truth behind what I say. Okay, so that being said, the Nephilim mind virus is something that it affects each and every one of us. Okay, because we do have that divine spark within us that makes us a conduit to the Creator, like I've said numerous times before. Okay, but I think the powers that be, whether you call them the cabal, the Illuminati, the military-industrial complex, whatever you want to call them, demons, the Nephilim spirit, the archons, like in the Gnostic belief, whatever you want to call them, vampires, reptilians, that class, okay, that level of being, which are basically like worker bees for the above evil. Okay. Whatever you want to call them, they are the ones that are putting stuff in our air that we breathe and the food that we eat and the food that we drink. Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about what they're doing. And I correlated this. The other half of the program is going to be about the human kill switch. Okay. And each of us has within us a human kill switch. Believe it or not, we do. Now, whether you want to use that for the kill switch as basically shutting yourself down and returning to spirit or going to heaven, whatever Valhalla, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Your spirit will go. Okay. And your soul will go. All right. But we all have a kill switch. And some of us, we have a kill switch that shuts us down. And some of us, we have a kill switch that snaps in us, that makes us turn on our fellow mankind. Okay. Which you see a lot happening lately, which goes back to the Nephilim mind virus theory. Okay. In the Bible, it talks about the Nephilims being held in what we call the third heaven. Okay. The Nephilim spirit is held in a third heaven, a third realm. Okay. A third dimension above from us. Okay. I've talked about it several times before. It's the same dimension that demons come from. I do believe, and everybody can dispute this all they want, but do your research like I do. And you'll find out that in most cases, not all of them, but in most cases, the Nephilim spirit is the demonic spirit. They're one and the same. Okay. They're literally one and the same. The Nephilim spirit and the demonic spirit are literally the one and the same. Okay. In most cases. In some cases, they aren't. And we'll get into that. Okay. And that goes around certain geographical areas, like when you talk about the jinn, and stuff like that. Okay. So, anyways, the Nephilim mind virus is a seeding project. And I fully believe this. When we are seeing chemtrails in the sky. Okay, and this is from my own research. Please bear with me. Okay, I'm trying to get all this out as quickly as possible before the power goes out again. I believe that the technology that's being used against us right now from the cabal, whatever you want to call them, the evil ones, I believe that they are using graphene to influence this virus, to make it more of a way to control humanity as a whole. Okay. And now bear with me. Now, I know that when we talk about the human kill switch, that it is a provocative concept, okay, to use graphene as a human kill switch trigger mechanism. It's purely highly speculative and currently not supported by any scientific proof by any ways, means, or shape, or form that they're going to disclose, okay? But it's a fact that when they put this stuff in the air, weird stuff is happening, man. You're seeing things in the sky. You're seeing dragons in the sky, lights in the sky. You're having people become bitter and angry towards one another. Okay. All of this is happening. And I have come to the conclusion with my own research that it has to do with the graphene that they're putting in the sky. Okay. And yes, also, I can't say that, Roxanne. I'm glad you put that in the chat, but I can't personally say that last word on there, okay? Because they will shut me down. You're gonna have to kind of interpret words in between what I'm trying to tell you all in a short time that I have. The graphene role in a biomedical application has numerous benefits. It really does. Okay. It can help mend and heal wounds and stuff like that. Especially when you're talking about nano technology. Okay. We all know that. And it might even have something to do with some of the med beds too, for all I know. I haven't researched the med bed completely. But what I can say is that there is a correlation to the graphene that is being put into the air that chemically induces something within our brain. It's proven. Okay. It is almost like a neurotoxicity type of a thing where it attaches into our brain cells and it makes us more susceptible to being agitated, more susceptible to being angry without even a probable cause. Okay. Now, I, for one, and several of my friends and stuff, my brothers and sisters out there suffer from PTSD. We do from being in the military. Okay. So, we could snap at a moment's notice. That's just the way it is. All right. And I promise I will get to the chat as soon as I get this information out. Okay. But when they put this stuff in the sky and in the fog that we have been talking about for the past several months, they have somehow linked it to the Nephilim spirit, the demonic spirit, kind of like a demonic possession. But it's not the kind of demonic possession that we are used to handling. It's not something you use with holy water and you pray and you cast out the demon, okay, or demons, okay. It's not like that. It's like the human is the drone, and the demon is the pilot of that drone. You see where I'm going with this? That's the whole purpose of the graphene. Okay. That's the whole purpose of the I can't say it. I want to say it, Roxanne, but I can't say it. We all know it's the whole purpose of the, I'm not going to say it though. I feel that somehow they're using frequencies too. The graphene and whatever nanotechnology they're putting in the sky and in the fog and in the water that we drink, or the Gatorades, or whatever you want to call it, maybe even the food. It's all done with 5G and 6G. It's frequency. They have somehow figured out how they can take what they're putting out there in the sky and the chemtrails and combine it with a certain frequency, probably above 4,500 hertz, okay, which is pretty high. But these frequencies are what they're using to activate this stuff inside people. And you can tell when you're affected by it, okay? When you're sitting alone and you feel something literally under your skin wiggling like a worm. Okay? You have that sensation, and you can have it in your ankles, your legs, your chest, your back of your neck, your forehead. I mean, it doesn't have to stay in one place. It could be multiple of these parasites inside you. Now, I've already proven that the demonic is a parasite, plain and simple. Okay? And if I can figure that out, I'm sure as hell positive that whoever's doing this has figured it out. Okay? So, that being said, that's the connection. Okay? We have basically an uncontrollable kill switch within us. Now, does that correlate to everything that's going on? I think it does. Okay? I think it does. And when you're seeing all the wars and the rumors of wars, okay, you're seeing things like, let me see here, let me pull this up, like it says here in this scripture of the Bible, and this is even changed from the original text. Okay, this isn't the exact original text here from the Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers. Now, it never said the powers. It always said the evil governors, okay? Against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places, okay? They removed the evil governors, okay? I've always correlated the term evil governors to, what do you think? Corrupt politicians, okay? Let's face it, okay? That's just what it means, plain and simple. Evil rulers. So that right there is our first hint that this is going on, okay? Because it's written down in a historical text, and it's not just the Bible that says that, okay? It's not just the Bible. Everything that I've done in my research that I call the Nephilim mind virus is that it basically makes the humans unable to control certain urges like anger or frustration, okay? Jealousy, greed, okay? These are all basic elements and emotions that make up why they have this Nephilim mind virus, okay? Goes back to free will, folks. I've said it before. It was a gift by the Creator, but I also see it as a curse. And because of the free will, they're using it against us as humanity as a whole. Okay. Forget that there's a Muslim. Forget that there's a Christian. Forget that there's a Buddhist. Forget that there's a person that's of Islamic faith. Forget that there's, Russian Orthodox and all that. Forget the religious aspect of it altogether. We're talking humanity as a whole. Okay. As a whole is being manipulated and turned against one another. Okay. Plain and simple. Now, am I 150% proof positive? In my own research, yes, I am. I can almost guarantee that there is an actual thing called the Nephilim mind virus, and that somehow the powers that be, no matter what you call them, that control this world, all the corporations and all the businesses, all the financial institutions, the everything, all the governments around the world, they have known this, and they have honed this and made it into such an art to deceive people and to put this stuff out there to make them turn this way. Perfect example is, look at a lot of the bickering that's going on. In fact, Eric and I were talking about it too, backstage before the power went out. That I'm getting double feedback. Anyways, why am I hearing double feedback? That is weird. I only have my speaker on the computer. Anyways, we were talking backstage and about this, and as soon as I started talking about the Nephilim mind virus, power went out like that. And it wasn't just a simple, a breaker tripped for the room. No, it was not only just our house, but it was the entire area. Okay, we're talking hundreds of homes. Okay, so that being said, I know I'm on the right course. If I'm getting to the point where I'm pissing off supernatural powers, then I'm getting pretty close to being on the right path. Okay, and discerning the information. Now, do I think that they plan on using this human kill switch, this Nephilim mind virus, to manipulate us to the point where they could cause maybe a zombie apocalypse? And I hate to say that, okay? I'm just throwing that out there, okay? It's not that I believe that we're going to have a zombie apocalypse, okay? But I'm just throwing that out there as a take for instance type of a thing, okay? Exactly, Caleb. You see, and Caleb is one that he'd be a good one to even talk to this about too. In fact, I was going to see if he had time tomorrow to come on and tell us what he's experienced on the morning show, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'll put that link in the chat in the morning for you, Caleb. But this kill switch, they, in the military, we have this kill switch within us. And I think that when certain people like Eric and myself and Caleb and all of us go into the military, and David and Melissa, I think they profile a certain genetic trait. Okay. A certain genetic trait, and maybe even a frequency trait that they can, make us more of a machine and have no feelings when we're in the battlefield. Okay. Yeah, that's true, Corey. I've heard that too. In fact, that's the other thing that's why I pointed out the zombie thing. But I don't want anybody to assume that I'm saying we're going to have a zombie apocalypse, because we may not. Okay. We may have sporadic cases of weird crap like that, but I don't think we're going to have a worldwide pandemic in it. Okay. I really don't. But I do believe that the graphene and the other stuff that they're putting in the skies above our heads and in the fog are what they're doing to enhance the human kill switch within us. And with the frequency that they're using, I know this for a fact. Eric knows we talk about frequencies a lot, don't we, brother?
Oh, you that's actually had a very good conversation today dealing with Moon Valley and some people I talked to.
Hmm. So I'm telling you guys, there's more going on than meets the eye. There's more going on. It's a lot more in depth than what I can disclose in one podcast. Okay, but at the same time, we have this mind virus going on with the graphene and hooking up the kill switches in humanity. Okay, at the same time, we have other things going on. Here, let me read this to everybody. The human kill switch refers to a various concept related to the brain's ability to stop or inhibit actions, behaviors, or processes in response to perceived threats or limiting factors and beliefs. It can also be referred to as a biological mechanism, keyword, okay, to eliminate harmful cells or processes like cancer and immune cells overactivity. Basically, the breakdown of different meanings is a psychological behavioral kill switch skill. Okay, this refers to the limbic system's old brain reaction to a perceived threat, triggering a fight or flight response and effectively killing your ability to function effectively. Okay, that's literally the meaning of it. All right. Now, factors influencing the graphene toxicity include the form graphene oxide and reduced graphene oxide are commonly studied forms with varying levels of toxicity. Concentration, higher concentrations of graphene can be more toxic. Functionalization, modifying graphene surfaces with other molecules can affect biocompatibility and toxicity in humans. The kill switch concept or idea of using graphene as a kill switch likely stems from its potential to induce cell death under specific circumstances. In other words, all they got to do is hit a certain frequency on your body, on your biorhythm, and you're dead. You're unalived. Think about it, folks. Best way to control humanity. Can almost even label it the mark of the beast. Now, I'm not saying it is, but you can almost label it like that, okay? Now, we're going to take it and go the opposite direction now, guys, okay? We're going to talk about a little project that a buddy of mine told me about that's happening over in Greece, okay? And he's a beekeeper. I think he said he had 12 to 16 hives at one time on his property. I'm not sure how many bees. That's probably thousands, hundreds of thousands of bees for all I know. But anyways, they've been trying stuff over there, and we talk about frequency a lot, okay, and frequency has a lot to play in what's going on. I'm telling you, okay, I'm telling you, just hit above 4,000 hertz sometime, and put some sand or salt or something on a speaker, played on top of a speaker, and just let it play and see what kind of formation you'll see. I guarantee you'll see the type of formations I showed a few podcasts ago about our DNA, slices of our DNA. If you take our DNA and look at it like it's looking down a pipe, and you slice it like you're slicing a cucumber up for a salad, and you look at that slice and you hold it up like a quarter, okay, or a $50, and look at it, each one of those slices are going to be a little different. Those same slices are the windows that you see in a lot of the churches. Frequency. They call those windows in churches, those round windows in churches that have all the floral, floral looking patterns on them. They call those
Stained glass
frequency
window.
windows. Yeah, they call those frequency windows. Okay. Because it's a representation of the human DNA or a representation of some other form of life DNA. It's literally, those of you that are old enough to remember, do you remember having the clicker that you would put the round slide in and click it around and see different pictures inside the Viewmaster? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept, same exact concept, but a lot more technological. Okay. Same thing. They have been doing this time and time again. That's why you see so much of the history wiped out. We see all these churches and buildings that you never see built anymore because those buildings were centered on frequencies. They have the resonance antenna at the top. They have the holding chamber for the residual frequency sound, and then it goes forth throughout the entire building and back down into the earth. Okay? A lot of these old churches weren't even considered churches at the time, back in the old days. They were considered resonating chambers, healing chambers. Okay? Plain and simple. So, that being said, anyways, the beekeepers, getting back to the beekeepers in Greece, my buddy told me that they are literally doing, what they're doing is they're taking holy objects. Okay, whether it's a cross. Whoop, let me get rid of my gun first. No, kidding. Whether it's a cross like this, and they're putting it, or a picture, say a picture of Jesus, okay, or something angelic, okay, and they're putting it inside the beehives, okay, on top of the honeycombs, okay. Now, what they're doing here, I'll show you. Let me pop up a picture. This is what they're doing. Beekeepers in Greece began placing religious icons inside their hives, okay, inside their hives, okay. Now, we all know bees, especially honeybees, have a very, very predictable frequency, okay? But we also know that nature is a lot more tuned into the frequencies that we as humanity don't know about, okay? So, that being said, the results will amaze you. Here's a picture of Mary and the child, okay, with an angel. As you can see, the honeycomb is productive all around it. But these bees will not touch the surface of any holy icon or object that they put in the hives. They won't put any type of debris or anything. They won't even walk across them because it's almost like they know from the frequency of that they're living on that this is a very, very sacred object and not to basically trash it with their honeycombs. Okay. And that's not all. There's more. No matter how you look at it, they try and try and try with these objects. Okay. And they change them out. Yeah. They change them out and all that. Maybe God is real. And these bees are proof. Think about it. Okay. It's all about frequency. Okay. All about frequency. The bees built their honeycombs around the icons, but never over the faces of them. Amazing how bees can be smarter than humanity. It's literally amazing that bees can be smarter than humanity. But if you think about it, I'm having a lot of feedback. I don't know why. My phone is off. The only speaker I have is on the computer. So I don't know if it's something playing in your background, Eric, that might be a microphone, an extra microphone open. That is weird. Anyways,
I got my headsets in. Off.
Okay. Anyways, I thought this information was pretty, it connected. Okay, the Nephilim mind virus with the graphene, and not only that, it also connected with the fog, the chemtrails. It all makes sense, And those of you that know me on Facebook and are friends with me on Facebook knows I'm not tolerating a whole lot of bullshit. Okay, I'm sorry. I hate to say that. I really do. I love you all to death. I really do. But you know what? This at a time right now in our lives when we should be working together, the powers that be are doing everything possible to separate us and to make us angry towards one another. I kind of snapped yesterday and today online a couple times because I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about how many professional experts are out there in the cryptid and paranormal community. Brothers and sisters, there is no such thing as an expert. Do you think that the thousands upon thousands of hours of research that I've done and the 50 some years being out in the wild hunting and fishing and interacting with the Bigfoot families that I knew and all the other cryptids, the little people, and doing the dark arts ceremonies and the Native American ceremonies and the sweat lodge and all that. Do you think I didn't learn anything? But I am not. I am Nighthawk's expert. I'm not Eric's expert. I'm not Roxanne's expert. I'm not Urso's expert. I am Nighthawk's expert. I can only tell you what my encounters were, what my interactions were, okay? And what my research has found, okay? Folks, I'm always researching. I may sit somewhere nice and quiet and, you could walk past me and not even know I'm sitting there, but I'm always researching. These gears are always going. Always. Now, I found it fascinating that if bees, honeybees especially, can sense that those religious icon objects that they were put in their hives, in the beehives, and know not to touch them or degrade them in any way, I found it interesting how all of a sudden there's all these honeybees that are dying. Think about it. They're going to start eliminating ways that you and I can be shown signs from the creator or from the angelic beings that are helping humanity on how to battle it. They're literally going to make it wet. And Eric knows what that means. I know what that means. And every military vet out there knows what that means. Okay. They are literally going to wipe certain species off of the planet. Okay. I'm a big believer too, though, that when you think about it, um, one of the worst things we can do as humanity is eat pork. And don't get me wrong, I love my bacon. I can't go, very long without bacon gravy over biscuits. I'm telling you, okay, or sausage gravy over biscuits. I can't, because that's like my go-to. Okay. Um, but we shouldn't be eating pork. Okay. And let me tell you why. Because Jesus cast out all those demons into those wild pigs, and they threw themselves into the Red Sea. Basically, condemning the wild pigs or pork from being consumed by humans. Okay. What you're doing is you're consuming something that could agitate the Nephilim mind virus. Okay. The Nephilim spirit. It's basically another way of making humanity more susceptible to demonic possession. Okay. And I'm not Muslim. I know, Muslim brothers and sisters out there that they don't eat pork, and a lot of other religions don't, because it's a dirty meat. And the reason it's a dirty meat is because of what Jesus did by casting out the demons in the pigs. Okay. So that's why a lot of people don't eat pork. Okay. Like I said, I love my bacon gravy and my sausage gravy. So I'm sorry to all my Muslim friends. I really am. But that goes without saying. I don't eat a lot of it, but I do enjoy it occasionally. But technically, should we eat it? No, I don't believe we should, because it's a dirty meat, and it's a dirty meat that's affected by the Nephilim spirit. You see what I'm saying? The Nephilim mind virus is a attachment to you or me or whoever that is not a direct, and take it from me, I know about demonic possession. Okay. I know. I did skinwalker ceremonies and all that growing up. I know. Okay. I did all kinds of ceremonies growing up. Okay. I've given flesh offerings and stuff, I've made the sacrifices to the dark art. But now I don't. Now I try to do it for good, and I try to help out humanity. And I'm hoping that my blabbering about this makes some kind of sense to everybody, because it's a real thing. Okay. And we are in such a dire strait right now, humanity as a whole, that not only are we separated by religious beliefs, but now they're separated us by colors, by countries. What's next? Well, their next step is the graphene that they're putting in the air. They're putting it in the sky. They're putting it in the fog. What I called last year smart fog. Remember me talking about that, Eric, last year, called smart fog?
Mm-hmm.
That's because of what they're putting in it. They have tapped in, and they have this ability to connect to the Nephilim spirit, the demonic spirit. And that's why you see so many people going off on one another. So many mass unalivings. Okay. So many clashes. So many I don't want to say certain words, so I got to work around it. But you all know what I mean. You're not dumb. Okay. Do your own research. Okay. Check into it, and you will find out. Okay. But when my buddy told me about the beekeepers in Greece and what they did with these religious icons, it blew my mind. You see, it's like I've always said, when us indigenous people when we lived here long before the white man came here and any other immigrant came here, we were a part of the land. We had the same spirit as the wildlife. Okay, we communed every minute and every hour of our lives with nature and the actual vibrations and frequencies that nature and the wildlife put off. Okay, we respected it. We walked in a humble manner, lower than any other life form, lower than the water itself. Yet when water comes together at a whole, it can move mountains. That's how humble we were. Okay, we need to get back to that. We need to quit this stoking the fire, if that makes sense to anybody. We need to concentrate more on helping one another out instead of saying I'm better than you are. You know, I'm better, I'm more educated than you are. You know, it makes me more of a professional than you. It makes me more of an expert than you. You know, I've got, 50 books written. Makes me more of an expert than you because you don't have any books written. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay? Time and time again. I don't care, it's just a way that they are using what means they have to control and manipulate humanity. Okay? Plain and simple.
Do you remember the old adage? Well, who can learn more? Someone with a glass that is half full or somebody with a glass that is full? If you're an expert, that means your glass is full and you have no room to learn anything else.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Exactly. And I'm not putting it out there because Eric's an author or anything like that, or DA is, or or anybody else, Robbie, all you guys, you guys know I love you to death. All right. That's not the point. The point is that there are certain influences out there that I believe that are being tapped into, and I believe that this human kill switch is being triggered with this Nephilim mind virus. I really do. Okay. And when you step back and you look at the whole picture of things, the whole scope of everything, okay, and what's going on in the world, okay, you can't help but notice that there are a lot of coincidences that line up. It's like putting a Lego wall together. Each little block is going to fit eventually. But now they know that there's certain few of us out there that are onto it, okay? And we're trying to counter it by doing other things, okay? And I'm not going to disclose I disclosed one of those things that Greece is doing, but I'm not going to disclose any other things that we're doing. So, but it's just more proof that the ones that are in control don't want to give that control up. Plain and simple. Okay. I gotta drink some coffee, Eric. If you want to take over for me a little bit here, that would be greatly appreciated. I gotta catch my breath. Sorry, I had to rifle it off real quick because I didn't want to lose power and just crap out on everybody. So that's why I talked like I was the you remember the commercial with the miniature machine car, the guy that talked real fast?
Yeah.
That was me tonight.
It's kind of funny. I'm not getting into details because I've got to talk to DA first because it's a investigation that DA and I is working on. But I will say it has something to do with Moon Valley. I met with some interesting people today. Interesting people that's tied to that location. Interesting people's got more knowledge than what we realized to that location. I also got connected with somebody. It's called oh my God. Anyways, it's dealing with human frequencies and vibrations and energies. I can't remember where off the top of my head, man, I'm half awake and half asleep. Anyways, we were talking about this very same thing about energies, about frequencies. Energies and frequencies can heal and they can kill. They can move and they can destroy. We were talking about a lot of that stuff because I was in seeing my doc about my acupuncture. I had acupuncture today because my joints have been, especially my back, man. My back has been very, very bad here lately, which always happens when there's a lot of moisture in the air. My joints getting that old man syndrome in them. That arthritis that's riddled through my body gets to kicking in. But we were talking about a lot of that stuff, and so I was talking to this location, which I may end up having them on my show one time. I'm going to visit their campus next Friday. And it's interesting because they choose this location for what they do because of the energy in this location. And it just so happens to coincide with what happened at Moon Valley. I'm going to mess your name up and I apologize. Hey, Thrally. But this is key things. Our ancient ancestors and pre-flood ancient ancestors built things on locations because of the energies and frequencies. These tall buildings that they used to build wasn't just for frequency, it was for energies as well. Everything has it. Everything's tied to it. Everything runs off of it. Everything has anything to do with it. We were talking about med beds earlier. Med beds run off of frequency. Med beds will heal. There's a lot of stuff put in us that they don't know right now. They're not 100% sure it can get it out of your system once it's put in there, but it'll help you if that is the case. So they're still working on that side of it. But it's frequencies. Right. Everything deals with frequencies, so it's extremely important. Feeling bad energies?
I'm feeling like there's something going on right now. Something's going to start messing with me, so I'm just getting ready.
You had that aspect about you. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
So that's something to think.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull down my. All right. Okay.
And as we was talking, I told him when I do these cryptid investigations and these paranormal and supernatural investigations, one of the things I'm tapping into in that area is the energy, because good and evil, living or dead, mortal or immortal, they all put off an energy field. And if you learn how to tap into it, to read it, to understand it, then you can tell what's in that area. Now, some of the older ones and the more powerful ones, are they good at hiding their energy? Absolutely they are. And if we can, hey, Michelle, if we can ever learn to do it, we can hide our energies as well. If you guys, I love Japanimation. One of my favorite Japanimations is Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super, the list goes on. I love Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball. They are always talking about hiding their energy, which is something that the Asian people know very well. It's all about the chi. It's all about that other stuff.
The art of fighting without fighting.
That's funny, Caleb, because my primary MOS was an 0331 machine gunner, and my machine gun was a M240 Golf. Sorry, I was glancing over the chat. That chat's flying tonight.
Yeah,
but yeah, I primarily shot the 240 Golf. In fact, I was the regimental high machine gunner, so I helped train Bruce Willis on the machine gun systems for the movie Tears of the Sun. But it's when you're hunting.
But are you an expert?
That I say that I'm highly qualified. We used to have to
I'm
lob
sorry, I had to throw
rounds.
that out there, bro.
That's all right. We had to lob rounds over mountaintops and rain it down on top of the enemy.
I mean, we done some stuff you didn't think you could do with a machine gun. We could do it. But so when I'm doing these investigations, I'm tapping into that energy field as well. Like before I took Jessica on her first paranormal investigation, I went in that place, and I always like to do what I call a pre-investigation. And what that is I'm going in and feeling the energy of that area. When I was down doing that werewolf and dogman initial investigation, the pre-investigation, that's my main purpose down there, and that's why I said, man, something evil, really, really evil. It wasn't dogman, it wasn't werewolf, it was something supernatural and something evil in that area. In fact,
William, I remember you commenting when I was live on that.
he's like, you were even saying there's something not right there. You need to get out.
Yeah.
And that's what I was picking up too. And once I kept ignoring it, not getting it, not going where it was trying to get me to go to, it got more violent. It got stronger. And that's when you see me start panicking a little bit, grabbing my stuff and getting the hell out, because that's what happened. It was really pissed because I was not doing what it wanted me to do. And I can tell you now, you could feel it through the energy field, because that's what I felt, that it was wanting to unalive me. And
You wouldn't see me that before.
that's where you gave the gun. So,
Man, I have been everything from the
ammo man all the way up to a squad leader, Caleb. So yeah, I know that feeling very well.
He's also been a spud peeler.
Yep. I've even been the stand-in platoon commander a time or two,
because I was the only one back in the rear with the gear, because everybody was out training and I was back hurt, so I had to stand in on leader meetings.
All right.
Got the siege going, but so that's funny you talk about that, because I'm also laughing because I literally talked to Jessica Jones earlier today. He's like, man, I've got a feeling we need to do a show on energy. So Jessica Jones is going to be on with me Sunday, and here we are talking about energies again. So I'm kind of laughing. Caleb, let's just say that was an interesting time, because I've been known to put majors on their asses and anybody else because they're in an area they're not supposed to be. Yeah. So this stuff is very important. So I'm getting a kick out of this. How all this is timed. Oh, we lost William. Guys, we'll just hang tight and keep on talking. He's probably lost his electricity again, so we'll see what happens. Let me get the phone over here in case he messages, and that way I can see it. That's cool, Christopher. So because I was talking to Doc, and you guys have heard me tell this before. When I was younger, I would have anger, but I could control it. And then when Cheryl left this realm at a very, very, very young age, way too soon, that anger, that hate, that loss consumed me and turned me into something completely different, completely unpleasant. It's all energies, and the Marine Corps helped me to channel it and control it and get me back to where it became a ally and not a hindrance. So
all that stuff, even that deals with the energies. Everything mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally deals with energies. So it's very important to learn how to control that energy. We say it in the military quite often, especially the Marine Corps. Fear can be a ally, or fear can be your enemy. Learn how to turn fear into your ally
and an enemy to your enemy. So that's all about frequencies as well. Fear is a frequency, fear is an energy. You see how all this ties together on this stuff. You have to learn how to control it, how to do all that stuff. Little love, or that which is mysterious, is always attractive. Not all things are beautiful and have warmth. Yeah, yeah, Raleigh, yeah. So I'm getting a kick out. This is blowing my mind how we're on this energy subject. And literally earlier, I was talking to Jessica Jones about coming on Sunday and talking about these energies and stuff. So we'll be talking about this again Sunday. Oh man, he still ain't popped back up yet. I haven't got a message from him. Christopher, yeah, and that's one of my favorite books. One of my favorite books. In fact, I was listening to it in the truck the other day. Is Sun Tzu's Art of War. I so read that the wrong way. I think I could be an angry lad as a young lady. Oh, I read it right. Okay, turned that away. Oh, I haven't laughed that hard since I was a little girl. Oh man. Um, but this is when we were talking about the Nephilim. Here he comes. He's coming back in. When we were talking about the Nephilim, I've talked about this many times. There's many different types of giants. Nephilim was one type. Now the Nephilim is more of your supernatural type of giant because of where their bloodline comes from. And I was sitting here as William was talking, and I had stuff running through my head, and that's just how my brain works. What if they took the blood of a Nephilim and weaponized it against humanity? So we know during World War II, a certain individual, don't want to say the name too much. Oh, you got two screens up, William.
Yeah, I know, because in case I lose power, I'm putting my cell phone on.
Oh, okay.
So bear with me, folks.
Yeah,
I just lost power again.
Yeah, we kind of figured that's probably what happened. Yeah, the Nephilim were the offspring of the Watchers, the ones who went against Yahuwah's orders. Yeah, and the Fallen came afterwards. I can't remember if the Watchers became part of the Fallen or not, but the Nephilim were the offspring of the Watchers. Yeah, the Gremlins hijacking. Man, I can hear that real bad now. Yeah. That feedback's like, oh, you got both mics. So there we go. Okay.
Yeah, I just had to silence the one mic, so. Yeah, I've still got it on my phone. Hold on. God damn it. This is crazy, man.
I love it.
I don't have anything on.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Huh. I caught it though, man. Yeah, SOY was fun, Caleb. SOY was fun. In fact, the second time I slept through an earthquake was I was in a foxhole at SOY.
Hold on a second here.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
There.
Christopher. I think I've seen that Unreal. Yeah, I think I have. Dueling Nighthawks. Oh, yeah. That's what I've got. I've got it on the book, but I've also got it on audio, and I love to listen to it. Yes. Well, it's not just them, but yes, that was a big portion of them. Exactly, Ascension. Yeah. I'm trying to get caught up in your guys' comments. Sorry. I'm just, there's so much. I'm going to have to scroll all the way down, just kind of pick back up. Uh, Man, I wonder why it's doing that when you got everything shut off. That is so weird. I need to check. I've heard of that one, Christopher, and I need to check it out. I've just not had the money to do it. I'm getting ready to drop 6,900 on fixing my truck again. That ain't counting the 70 something I just spent last night. Yeah, it's I'm hemorrhaging money that I don't have. And so one of these days, yeah, I want to check that book out. So now you've been in here quite a bit, Christopher. You're always in here as Machete. So say something now.
All right.
Ooh, no back.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, you ain't got the back feed now.
I just shut the phone off. But I got it ready in case I lose power again.
Mm. Well, that's weird.
It's
Even
amazing how that
muting
happened when I was smudging.
Yeah. That's just so weird. But so when we're looking at that stuff, you got to consider, that's what I mean by mortal and immortal. Demons run off of this stuff. Any type of, even angelics, they're all energy. Listen to what Yahuwah talks about angels. Hey, freaky, they're energy. They've got a lot of energy to them. So this stuff's everywhere. I mean, energy frequency is essential.
Here's something that you all should know. That's what our limitations as being human and mortal is all about right there. We can only see between 430 and 770 terahertz, and we can only hear between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. So we are literally 0.0035% of the entire scale of both hearing and seeing. So that's why it's always good to have a cat and a dog around you. Believe it or not, dogs are literally built-in protectors for humanity because they can see things a lot more and hear a lot better than what we can. So keep that in mind. Okay.
Oh yeah. That's okay, Christopher. I was getting a kick out of your comments there. Hey, take it easy, Jason. Yeah, I've been up since 6:30 this morning because I have to take Yessie to work. So I mean, I'm just up. And I got to do it again tomorrow too. So yeah, it's still doing the dad life. Yeah, don't. Yeah, I mean, my animals are up my butt all the time. I've got 2 kittens that like to be up my butt all the time. They're constantly cleaning with me, sleeping on me, and playing with me. All 3 every time you turn around. So, actually, speaking of frequency, I learned something new today. This is something that Doc taught me. And I can tell you it's instantaneous when I did it. You know how we're always talking about forming energy between our hands, and we're usually got it around our chest or our head? Put it below your belly button and do it.
I mean, it was instantaneous. I could feel the tingling in my hands that went throughout my body when I was doing that.
So, yeah, I was like, holy crap. Because we were talking about that stuff.
I said, yeah, I said, I've sat there and had my hands out like this and was trying to concentrate on forming a ball of energy. And I could literally get my hands feel like they're getting warm. And that's close as I've gotten so far. But I've literally felt them getting warm. He starts smiling and goes, put them down here. And I started doing it, and just bam. As soon as I started doing it, it started tingling throughout my hand and went through my whole body. He goes, that's centering your energy.
Well, if we can get everybody in the chat and you together for a certain day and time frame, I can come on for about an hour and start teaching on how to work with your chi, with your energy. That was not good.
Corey.
Oh, what's that?
Well, right over here, I have a window. Okay. It used to be the window that was behind me in the original beginnings of the podcast. Okay. Where I had the backdrop and everything, and I moved everything. I turned everything sideways. So the walls at my back now to the living room. Okay. Well, that window, just like that time that I talked about that red-haired controller peeking through the living room window at me, a head just came through the window here and looked at me and then popped back out. Now,
maybe that's the thing you was feeling.
Yeah. Now, mind you, though, okay, since I've been working with this theory on the Nephilim mind virus and everything, and with the graphene in the sky and in the fog, and God knows where else they're putting it, that interaction like that has been happening a lot more lately. Okay, like they know they're being exposed. Okay. Now this window that I had behind me, Eric, literally has cardboard in it, probably about a half an inch thick. Okay. It's closed, secured, locked, duct taped and seamed all around the seams, and then the cardboard's put on it, and then it's duct taped around the edge of the cardboard. And then on top of that, I've got a plastic, almost like a background tarp, like the green screens, but it's black over top of that. Okay. So there's no drafting can come through there. No light leakage can come through there. Okay. So why is that coming through? Obviously because of the topic. It's got to be the topic, because I'm striking a chord. Yeah, I'm striking a chord because I'm getting closer. Every time I research and get closer and closer to finding out the actual truth, stuff like that always kicks up. Always. Just saying.
Supernatural, I'll have to take your word on that. I don't know a whole bunch about the Lyran lineage. I haven't done a whole lot of research on that. But that's interesting. Yeah, he said that I got a heavy Lyran lineage. I'll take your word for it. Honestly, I've not done a whole lot of research on that, so I don't know much about that.
He's probably sensing all the cats you got.
Oh, God, I got way too many freaking cats, man.
Do they have fluffy Lyrans?
Yeah. Yeah. Word, I don't see that. I must have missed it. That's got to be a Roxanne thing. I'm not seeing it for some reason. The Batcave. Yeah. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, I'll have to look into it, definitely. Oh, well, crap, what happened? freaking thing. Creative Life. Shapeshifter. Who are you talking about, Urso? I have no idea. So it's actually kind of interesting. But I get into, I call it my Ulfinar state. At one time, I was Berserker state. Ulfinar state, you're more controlled. You can, the origins of Adamus blueprint came from Lyra. Oh, interesting. I knew about star seeds. I know about them, but I didn't know about the Lyran thing. But when I get into that state of mind, when I was younger, I could control it. There, now it came up. Now it pops up. Now I can see it. I become something different. My energy increases, my strength increases, my combat skills increase. And then when I was in Berserker Rage, it all did that stuff, but I couldn't control it. I was uncontrollable. And then the Marine Corps helped me to bring it back where I could control it again. And that's probably the closest thing to shape shifting I can come to. That's the best way I can describe it. We used to joke around and call it the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde effect whenever I got pissy, got that mad, because I did. I became somebody completely different.
Right.
Yeah, my eyes turned red, just everything. So, but this stuff is, and so when I talked to that guy at the, God, I don't know why my brain's not working good enough to remember it. When I asked him, I said, I heard you put that place on, you chose that place because of the energy there. He kind of chuckled and goes, yeah. He goes, that's exactly why we chose it to be here. And I kind of told him, okay, so this is me. This is what I do. Because I don't hide nothing from anybody. And he's like, oh, man, yeah, I really like it. That's interesting, He's like, how many subscribers? And we just got to talking about it. And I said, Dom, I've only been doing it just a little over a year, and he's like, man, you're doing pretty good. He goes, yeah, we might have to work on something. So I may be able to get him to come on one day, because energies is very important. Not just research wise, right. Not just investigation wise, but your daily life. It's important. But if you notice, if you study,
bro.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think they're starting to mess with your equipment too now.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better. Yeah.
Okay, I had it pretty much turned my volume down, but we'll go with there. But if you study ancient history, they were using frequencies on a lot of stuff, and energy for a lot of stuff. And he even said the same thing. He goes, oh yeah, pyramid, because he's got a pyramid on that property. He goes, yeah, pyramids were not tombs; they were energy sources.
Mm-hmm.
Pyramids can use
a lot of the old architecture was.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you was going to say something. Yeah, a lot of their architecture was, and I mean, you got your monoliths, you got all that stuff. All of it's built on places of energy.
All right. You want to play dirty ball? We're going to play dirty ball. Even during a live. I'm going to turn off my mic for a minute.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this thing. It's not working now. Come on. What is going on? I can't click on anything to highlight it. All right, I don't know what's going on. I can't click on anything to highlight it.
They're messing with us, brother. They're messing with us big time. The Nephilim spirit.
Yeah.
Trust me. I guarantee it, because I am fighting something right now, big time. And it's
Yeah, well,
just
you're not
in this
welcome here.
room with me.
So you have no power or control here. You're not welcome here. You do not have my permission to mess with me or anything that belongs to me. You must go. There it goes. Daggone. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, I was that way when Cheryl died. You're still messing with my stuff after I told you you don't have permission. Now you must stop. Um, well, hey, Michelle. Yeah, I agree with you, Bounty. It's working now. I agree with you. I really do. A lot of people do that. Yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, my stuff's working again.
All right. It's better now here.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been.
All right. Well,
it really. Yeah, my stuff's working again. I don't put up with that stuff. I'll tell it. I don't care.
oh, I tell it, but this is something more than normal.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at last week during the show. I had a cool breeze blow right past me, right over my left shoulder during that live, and then oh man, I can't remember what happened after that. I remember that cool breeze happened, and there's something else. Oh, I heard that running in the house, and that was when I was live. Damn it, that's me there. Yep. So, well, and that's like what I just did, what William just did. That's the type of stuff I do when I get ready to leave a paranormal or supernatural investigation, because you have to take the power. Um, you have to take power, otherwise they will attach themselves to you or your equipment, and that's why I said the words that I said, because I had to take that power and let it know, no, you cannot do that. So
I'm just going to set that right there.
yeah, crap. Every time I go to click, the chat shifts. So
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff happening, but you know what? Ultimately, we got the word out. I got to disclose everything I could within 45 minutes of the podcast. So, I mean, those of you that missed at the beginning of the podcast, you might want to go back and watch it, because there's some pretty freaky stuff that we talked about and some pretty freaky stuff that happened during talking about it. So you might want to go back and look at it. As far as the Nephilim mind virus, I'm a firm believer in it. And I'm a firm believer that the graphene that they're putting in the air and in the fog has a lot to do with triggering the kill switch within humanity. I really do. And I've proven it with my research. And, we've got to assume that we have no friends in high places. We have to. Okay. Except one friend. Okay. And he's all the way up there. Okay. So, there are the equivalents to basically house angels and angelic spirits that are, neither against humanity or for humanity. They do literally the bidding of the creator. Okay. So we know that. So we don't have to fear them. But when you're dealing with Nephilim, and a lot of people, they'll try and make the connection between some of the cryptids out there, like Bigfoot, with the Nephilim. And when you're dealing with the Nephilim spirit, you have to remember that these were men of renown. They were called sky eaters for a reason. Okay. There's stories, native stories, especially Cherokee legend and Ojibwe, Seneca. We all have these legends of these giants. Okay. My uncle talked about back in the old days how they trapped a giant that used to steal the women and the children and eat them. Okay. And they trapped this one giant that stole these people from our tribe and in a gully of a reservoir gully where a river flowed through it, and they dammed up the river and they trapped that giant there, and they unalived that giant to free up the people, and they saved their people.
Yes,
Yes,
Michelle.
Michelle. Yeah, you can. So these legends of Nephilim have been around for a very long time. I mean, it's up to you if you want to call a Bigfoot, a Nephilim. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you can't. Okay, but you have to understand that when we talk about giants, we're talking about giants. We're talking like the trolls, the ogres of Norse legend, giants that were bigger than mountains sometimes. That literally, when they walked, the earth trembled. Okay, not just a little bit, but it trembled like an earthquake.
Yeah.
So, when we're dealing with the Nephilim spirit, okay, when I talk about the Nephilim mind virus, we're dealing with that same powerful dynamic. Okay, and if the powers that be that control our world currently, whether you call it the cabal or whatnot, have utilized graphene and a few other things in our atmosphere and in the fog and in the sky, they have somehow been able to tap in and utilized that Nephilim spirit as a virus, as a remote controlled virus in humanity. Okay. And like I said earlier in the podcast, that's why we see so much aggression. We really do. The aggression level in humanity has gone from a 3.5 to a plus 11, literally in the last 4 or 5 years. So, you have to assume something supernatural is being connected to what's going on. And with everything that's being seen and happening, it has to be that. And that's just from the research that myself and a couple others have done, and, other, like I say, there's other, people around the world that are trying to figure out how to combat it through religious icons and religious ceremonies and all that. Like when I talked about the beekeepers in Greece, there is something to be said about faith. And I know I've always said it doesn't matter what your faith is as far as, what religion you are, because, technically religion is a man-made concept. Okay. It never said anywhere in the Bible you had to be this, that, or the other thing. Okay. It never, and everything that Christ taught to humanity when he came here, he didn't tell you had to go to this church to be with his father, or him. You didn't have to go to this certain religious building to pray. All he said was, where two or more are gathered in his name, he will be there. That's all. That's literally it. We have complicated so much when it comes to religion. And I know I'm going to piss some people off. Okay. But when you're dealing with the whole religious aspect of the world, okay, you're dealing with the mindset that everybody that's in charge of those certain religious beliefs, their mindset is that their belief is the only way. The only way. But what did Christ say? In order to get to the Father, you have to go through him. He didn't say you had to go through Catholicism. He didn't say you had to go through paganism. He didn't say you had to go through Buddhism. He didn't say you had to go through, Hindu. He didn't say you had to go through, Muslim. He didn't. He said you had to go through him to get to the Father. Plain and simple. But we have somehow taken that simple concept, that simple key to everything, to unlocking everything, and screwed it up. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So,
Bounty has a question. So I was told I was possessed because of this. If I'm in danger or scared, I don't know how to say it. Huge bear and I blend and end up having same heartbeat breaths. I can feel the ground tremble beneath his paws, feel the power as he walks down the mountain. Am I possessed? I think you're just tied to bear is a symbol of strength in a lot
bears are
of
strength
cultures.
medicine.
Yeah,
Definitely.
bears. In fact, when they hunt, when they unalived a bear and tried to cook the meat when they were told not to, its ashes turned into mosquitoes because you weren't supposed to do that. So, and that's in some of the native cultures. Bear is very important.
Well, that's a Lakota thing too. That's here's the whole parable behind that. Okay, the legend behind the bear. You see, the bear was sacred to the Lakota people, the Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota people. Okay, and in those days, we considered the bear to be like the first medicine man. Okay, and the reason we say that is because bear walked on two legs. Okay, some of the time, about 50% of the time, you know. But the bear also knew what kind of herbs to eat for certain ailments. It knew how to take away the sting of an insect, or the bite of a spider, or the bite of a snake, and heal itself. Okay, it knew how to heal itself from certain herbs to eat with stomach ailments and stuff like that. The native people, my people especially, learned a lot from watching the bear. So in our mindset, we labeled the bear as the first medicine man, the grand teacher of our medicine. And when I say medicine men, I'm talking literally like a doctor, okay, like our own EMT, Okay, like our own personal EMT. Okay, medicine people nowadays, we do ceremonies and all that, and sweat lodge and humblatia, vision quests and stuff like that. And we also deal with the herbal remedies as far as healing people too. Okay, so back then, that's what we assumed the bear was. Okay, was the first medicine person. Okay, so these three hunters, there was like no game for the Oyate, the nation that was encamped. And the elders got together and sent these three hunters out. And these three hunters spent days and days and days out, and didn't see anything. No deer, no elk, no buffalo, no nothing. Okay, not even a bird. And soon 4 or 5 days went by, and they started following a bear, and they were watching bear. And the elders, before they left, said, do not take a bear to feed the people or yourselves. Bad things will happen. It's the first medicine person. And anyways, to make a long story short, these three hunters, these three young braves, were hungry, starving after several days, and wanted something to eat, and they didn't have anything to eat, and the bear was there. So they literally took the shot and unalived the bear. So they basically, do what hunters do. We skin the stuff and prepare the meats and stuff, and they put the meats into a pot, and they put a lid over this pot over the fire, and they were cooking bear. And all of a sudden, this pot started shaking and rattling, Okay. One of the hunters walked up to the pot and saw it rattling, and he lifted the lid off of the pot, and millions of mosquitoes came out of that pot, and there was no meat left in the pot. And those three hunters were bit and just miserable until they got back to the Oyate, their nation, their tribe. And the elders told them that they did something basically sacrilegious by unaliving the bear and trying to eat it. So as a reminder from all those generations ago of my people, the mosquito is here to remind us every time we get bit of what we did to the bear, the first medicine person, by unaliving it. So, when we talk about medicine and stuff like that, medicine people, that is why we have such a respect for our culture and our medicine people. Okay, our elders especially. I'm also a Wachashawakan, which means I do ceremonies and stuff for people. But we as a whole, since that first story, that first legend of those three hunters going out and unaliving the bear, the first medicine person, and what happened, we have never strayed from thinking of ourselves. It's always about the Oyate, the nation. Okay, literally, that's what it's about. And that's kind of goes in correlation to what we talked about tonight with the Nephilim mind virus, with being angry with each other and stuff, and going off the rails and over jealousy, greed, fame, whatever you want to call it, in all these groups and all that, trying to outdo each other, and podcasts trying to outdo each other. It's ridiculous. And that one story of the first medicine man, the bear, pretty much sums it up. That if you don't listen to your elders and you respect your medicine people and the people that are here to teach the young ones on how to be and stuff, if you don't listen and follow the guidance and respect everything around you, it's going to turn on you. And that's exactly what's happening today. Exactly. To a T.
Yeah.
Everything is turning on humanity right now.
There's
Now we got to
another
fix.
good. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's another good example of that to happen not too long ago. It's a very sore subject, but look what happened at Wounded Knee. They were told
Oh,
not to take weapons. Because Chief Bull said not to do this. I had a vision. What did they do? They took trophies. They took weapons. Look what happened
let me tell
shortly
you.
after.
Let me tell you something. Wounded Knee holds a very, very
Mhm.
deep
Special spot.
connection to my family. Okay, not to my nation, yes, to my tribe, my Oyate, but to my family in particular. Okay, because my grandfather, who passed before I was born, okay, he passed in 1948. Okay, before I was born, and him and his siblings were three of the survivors of the Wounded Knee Massacre, December 29th, 1890, at a place
Mm-hmm.
by Wounded Knee Creek. Now there is a memorial there, a mass grave, where the 330 some family members of mine were laid to rest in a mass grave.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather, he always told my father and my uncles, never forget what happened that day. And that is a very, very, very sore subject with me when it comes to our own government. A government that I
Yeah.
actually defended, okay, by being in the military. That's why in my younger days, I was also a militant member of the American Indian movement. I was not proud of it right now. I mean, I was back then because I was a 6'2", 220-pound pissed off native, and I after hearing my father and my uncles tell me growing up some of the stuff that was done to our people, how they used to. Hold on a second. I got to put something up if I'm going to talk about this. Give me a second.
Not a problem.
Michelle, that's kind of interesting. I saw something in the backyard last night. I saw a light shine above my fence last night. I have a 6-foot fence. The head, as it was turning away that to the right, I tried watching for a while, but saw something else. That is very intriguing. I'm kind of wondering, what all it kind of looked like.
Yeah. What color was the eye shine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of iffy about bringing it up, but it was a prime example why you should listen. Take heed. Thank you, spiritual.
Thank you, spiritual. I
Sorry,
appreciate that.
I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here.
Red
I
eyes.
thought Williams was a white cat. Yeah, no, it's Snow. Snow's my buddy. He's an internet whore, but he's my buddy. Freaky. Yeah, Moose is really good eating.
Hey, Dawn.
By
Good to see
my
you.
shine, I am a doorkeeper of the Sundance, just like my grand. Oh,
Man, that's something I have not been able to do. That is cool, Caleb.
You never talk about Sundance. Never talk about your dance, your scars, or anything. It's a part of our
I,
belief.
I still haven't been to Sweat.
Oh Jesus, man, we got
I
to
need
get you to a sweat. You haven't
the one
sweated
time
until you've done the 7 doors for a Lakota Sweat Lodge. So
the one time I was supposed to be able to, sadly the gentleman passed away before I can get back home, and that was when I was in the Corps. And he was a Lakota medicine man here, and he used to do a lot of the powwows with us. And oh God, dog! Oh, dude! Really in my arm? That is. Oh God! Seriously, you had to do that while you was. That's rude. Damn, I could taste that.
oh God. All right. Well, on that note, I think we we might want to consider closing down the broadcast because it's going on an hour and 45 minutes. But baptism by butthole.
Yeah. Dude, that was so bad. It went right in my mouth and in my nostrils. Oh, that is. You need to go poop. You're gonna go outside and you got poop. There's no doubt you got to poop. Oh, that was a violation of my nostrils and mouth. But yeah, he was a very dear friend of the family, and Mom was taking care of him on hospice, and he hung out for a long time. They were trying to get me home from overseas, and sadly, a week before I made it home, he left this realm, so I never got the chance to do my sweat.
Oh, you'll get a chance. You just got to,
One of these days.
even if you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I never try to get a name or nothing because I haven't done it properly. I haven't been through sweat. I haven't done any of that stuff, and I like to try to do things proper.
You got to do your humblation before you do your naming.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go listen to the spirits. Go listen to the wind, Cola.
Mm-hmm. Listen to the ancestors and everybody. Yeah, that's why I don't do it. I don't know what my guardian spirit is. Have I always had a real close connection to Wolf, Brother Wolf? Absolutely, but I can't say that's my guardian spirit. I just had a real tight connection with Brother Wolf.
No, but what you see around you most often, or what you vision about while you sleep, has a lot to do with what your spirit animals and your guardian animals could be. Even my name, the significance of my name has to do with my connection to the red-tailed hawk. It is literally, my brother. Everything I do, I see through the hawk's eyes. I can feel its flight.
There's a reason why I keep a wolf on my chest for a couple different reasons.
Wolf is very important to me. When we was homeless and a family took us in, they had rescued a wolf, and that wolf would follow me to the bus stop. He wouldn't let me get close to a snake. He would stop me, unalive that snake, and then finish walking me to the bus stop. And he'd wait at the bus stop all day till I got back off that bus. I've always had a very close connection to wolf. But, well, I mean, I talk about time. Wolf in our state, it's very wolf-like. It's very, wolf is important to me. But wolf is also the spirit hunter. He's the one that taught the people how to hunt. Wolf is important. Wolf is sacred. And that's the other connection I have. And of course, in Norse mythology, wolf is also important too.
Here, I'm going to show you guys something. If you guys think you're wondering what I keep looking at, my wall over here has got my native bundles and stuff over here, and the rattle, the gourd rattles and stuff with the Bigfoot and the dog man on it. So I have all kinds of stuff next to me, just in case you all are wondering why I keep looking that way. So.
It's so, but and like I said, just because I've had a close connection to them, just because they're important to me, that doesn't mean that's who they are to me. I got a connection with Wolf,
Mm-hmm. Well,
Wolves
and a
that
lot
live
of
around here.
a lot of the animal connections that you have could be attached to you spiritually. You could be seeing, 7 different types of animals that could make your totem animals. It depends. But you need to do your Humblacia, your vision quest before anything. Which is, if I was close to you, I'd take you out and do a vision quest. It's not easy. It's a real test, but you being a Marine, you should be able to do it. It's nothing worse than nothing you haven't been through already. Isolation is the thing, and prayer, continued prayer, and songs and stuff that you sing, and meditation and all that during your Humblacia. You stake out an area. The medicine man will come out, the Wachasha will come, and they'll put out the area. They'll use the sacred colors, that I've shown 100 times on the channel, and they'll stake it out on the ground. Purple for the creator, green for Makal Khan, sacred Mother Earth, and so on. And the medicine wheel colors and all that. And it'll be, some of us do them in like a rectangle type of a formation, and others do it in a circle. As long as you have the colors up and the directionals up, you're fine. But what the medicine people will do and the Joshua Khans will do is they'll check on you certain parts of the day, okay? And basically, I was just reading Unreal's comment there.
Yeah, that's why I had it up there.
Yeah, my descendants, my bloodline, my Lakota bloodline comes from Crazy Horse's bloodline and Red Horse's bloodline. My grandfather was born during Greasy Grass in 1876, and you all know it as Little Bighorn. So my grandfather was born the nephew to Crazy Horse himself, Tashanka Witka. And so that's why a lot of what we talk about is very sensitive to me, especially when it comes to my Lakota ancestry, because I've got Cherokee and Shawnee in me too. I'm a mixed blood. I'm a blood, but I'm a mixed blood. So, but I don't neglect any part of my native bloodline, my half Lakota bloodline and my half Shawnee and Cherokee bloodline that I get from my mother. So, I just it is what it is. But anyways, as I was saying though, when it comes to your spirit animals and stuff, you're gonna have certain animals that frequent your life. Like we were kidding earlier about you being a Lyran, okay, a cat person, with all the cat medicine around you. A cat, Igumu, may be one of your spirit animals. Okay.
I've been
Mountain.
talked about it many a times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there's, that could be part of it too. Why certain people sense certain things, around you. That could be why, who was a Bounty that said that they had the bear visions. That doesn't necessarily that doesn't make you possessed whatsoever. That just means that your spirit animals are talking to you. And if you can tap into that, and it's like I've always said from the beginning, if you can tap into that divine spark that's within you as a human being, okay, you'll be able to tap into all the medicine animals and learning principles that you're supposed to learn from them. All your spiritual strengths you're supposed to learn from them. Okay. So just as much as Caleb is a dog soldier. Am I right, Caleb?
Yeah, I got to stop howling at the moon. I love to howl at the moon. I got to stop doing it. I've been doing that since I was knee high to a grasshopper's ass. It's just something that just comes out. But like a lot of the most common animals I have around me on a day-to-day basis, besides the cats and dogs, turtle is very common. I see snake a lot. Yeah. It's like that old story, when the humans and the turtles at one time had warred against each other, and turtle got mad because human broke the peace at one time, so turtle dug a hole and came up and ate the chief, and then the great spirit got involved, and that's why you're not supposed to eat turtle, because it's all what happened during that war.
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I love that stuff because it's important.
I thought so, Caleb.
It's very, very, yeah. Oh yeah. But turtle, snake, red-tailed hawk, eagle. I see eagle often. I see eagle. I have eagle likes to fly in front of me when I'm on my bike or driving. Eagle swoops down and flies in front of me. Crow, Golgagi, crow, Golga. Golga visits me. Huh?
Kanji. Crow.
Kanji. Yeah. Yeah. Crow flies in front of me or is around me often. That tells me when leaving Lyra, you may have very well gone to Sirius, hence the spirit. Huh. This is kind of interesting. Multiple times I've had prophets prophesy over me, talking about how I'm going to be a leader, a spiritual leader, and I'm going to lead people to the enlightening stage. And people come to me very easily and open up to me very easily and follow me very easily. So it always bothered me because there's been many a times that's been prophesied over me on that. So then I get to thinking, it's like, gosh, man, I see all this stuff happen. Today's a prime example. I mean, just a small conversation, noticing something led into something very, very huge.
Nice day. Well, you look tired, man. Why don't we wrap this up? And we're going to be coming back on in the morning at 11 a.m. Might be coming on about a half an hour late. I don't know, depending on how drag ass I am after being up all night tonight. But I'm not even sure what the topic's going to be. Oh, your Kit Fox Society, huh? Yeah.
I'm familiar. I've heard of Kit Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of Kit Fox.
I'm Thunder Being Society.
I'm a fluffy guy society. That's all I know right now. I don't know much. I'm just fluffy.
Anyways,
Oh man.
if you all could like, heart, and share this out, I'd appreciate it. If you didn't get a chance to hear the beginning of the podcast, by all means, go back and start it from the beginning. You're gonna find out some things that I talk about. I had to rattle stuff off within like 45 minutes because the spirits were definitely messing with us. So it was really the first half of the podcast was very chaotic. Let me tell you. Okay. So, but go back and watch it and see if things make sense to you. Okay. We talked a lot about tonight about the Nephilim mind virus. Okay, we talked a lot about the graphene that they're putting in the sky and the chemtrails and in the fog that affect the human kill switch, which is a bio mechanism that is within us that basically makes us more aggressive towards one another, towards anything really. It doesn't even have to be another human. It could be an animal. It could be anything. So, these are all things that we talked about in the beginning of the podcast tonight, and something I think everybody should know. And as I say all the time, guys, please do your own research. Don't take my word for it just because of my going through things, okay? Or Eric's going through things and stuff. It's 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 your life, okay? It's your beliefs that need to be awakened within you, your spirit, okay? Your essence, your chi, okay? Your energy. You need to enhance that. You need to, and we'll get together. We'll have to work out a time frame to do the energy work and stuff that I can teach you. But Candy, good to see you. As for me, I'm running out of gas tonight. So tomorrow morning, the latest we'll start is like 11:30 in the morning Eastern time. Tomorrow we'll just I don't even we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, what the topic's going to be, because I've been focusing so much on this, what we talked about tonight, that I haven't really thought of something for tomorrow. So maybe I'll leave that up to you, Eric. I don't know. We'll see. But
I like how it just flows.
What was that?
I like how it just flows, man.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, it does flow. That's for sure. But everybody, I want to thank the mods for being here. Without you guys, there wouldn't be a podcast. And without everybody in the chat, the family in the chat, without you all being here, there wouldn't be a podcast. Okay. I want you to know how much you're loved and respected. Above all things, we can have our differences. We can have our differences. And this is something I want all my brothers and sisters across the world to understand. We can have our differences in beliefs. Okay. We're allowed that. Okay. It's a human being thing. Okay. There is nothing set in stone that says we have to be one religion or another. Okay. My elders and my father and all my uncles always told me that when I wanted to be with the Creator and pray to the Creator, go out into the cathedral of the mountains and the pines. That's his church. That's the world that he created. You don't have to go to a building to pray to God. Okay. So that's just my belief. But I want you all to know that I just saw that. Oh my God. Oh man. Okay. Anyways, all right. Like Moses on the mountain. Yes, true, Christopher. Very, very true. That is exactly okay. God talked to Moses through a burning bush. Okay.
Mhm.
So I mean, he was on a mountain. So that right there should show everybody that you don't have to be in a building to be with your creator, okay, or your God. Whether you call it God, whether you call him Buddha, whether you call him Allah, whether you call him this, that, and the other thing, it's just a thing. Okay. We all bleed the same. We all hurt the same. We all love the same. We're all the same. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter. We shouldn't let
I
that
believe
separate. Yeah, we should not let that. We should not let these beliefs that humanity, the controllers of humanity, have set upon the masses to believe in, to separate us and keep us divided. We shouldn't. We shouldn't
do you
play
know
it.
the,
So
do you know the one thing that proves we're all the same and we're all connected? It don't matter what race you come from. We all can make babies together.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but it's just the damn truth. So
Well, that and the fact that we all bleed the same.
we all, yeah, on the inside, we look the same, bleed the same. We can breed with one another. So
On
biologically,
on
we
a
may.
yeah on a, and a better note, I ordered some of the I don't want to say the word because I'll be banned. The medicine for treating cancer that you take orally, um,
Oh, yeah,
a
get some.
certain horse type, and I'm gonna try that and see how that goes
Mm-hmm.
over the
Now,
next
you don't
couple
want
weeks.
you don't want to be on the chopping block like I am until July 20th.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, like I always say, please everybody question everything. You have that right. Okay. Um, I guess we'll go over everything tomorrow. In tomorrow's podcast,
Mm-hmm.
we'll let you know what Eric's got going on and all that. By all means, check out his books on Amazon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he's constantly got his nose to the grindstone writing books. So, and for being a fluffy Marine, he does a pretty good job. So,
Oh,
we need
God,
to give him credit. So, um, Caleb.
making me tear up. Yeah, man, that's just oh god, dude. At some point in time, I'm going to have to take a break. I feel it catching up to me, man. But
Yeah.
hey, and there's gonna be a week in July that I'm not going to be available, so it's coming up.
All right, everybody. So, Eric and I will see you guys in the morning, and we'll figure out what's going on tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your night or morning, whatever you want to call it. Question everything. That's your right.
Mhm.
And stay strong in your faith. That's your right. Okay. Um, but watch out, okay, because there's some really freaky crap going on right now, and we really need to be cautious, to say the least. Because the Nephilim spirit is a real thing. And I do believe that the Nephilim mind virus is a real thing, from my own research. And I think when we all have that biological kill switch within us, within our bodies and our minds, that it doesn't take much to trigger that anymore. So we need to really stay strong, stay positive, and stay connected. Okay. When you get a chance, go outside, stand outside in your bare feet. Okay. Walk around in your bare feet. I don't care if it's your own yard, if it's on a little patch of grass you got outside your apartment. I don't care. Do that for, at least an hour a day. just suck it up, make that connection. You'll be surprised at how much energy flows through you when you make that connection. Okay. So with that being said, question everything, guys. And we'll see you in the morning, okay? I'm going to play a commercial for the outro with some ads on it. So here you go, guys.
In the twilight, whispers flow. Through the foliage, fears will grow. Eyes in shadows, watching close. A heavy weight, the silent ghost. Echoes haunting, screams in the night. Bigfoot lurking, just out of sight. Bigfoot watches, shadows breathe. In the silence we're deceived. A cry for help, a fleeting plea. He's the sentinel, forever free. On ridge lines, the wind will wail. Stories told of those who pale. Staring long, a curse bestowed in the realm where legends go. Amongst the trees, he reigns supreme, an apex beast in a twilight dream. Bigfoot watches.